Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Saturn in our birth charts and what it represents. If you're not sure where Saturn was placed during your time of birth, there is a birth chart link down below. If you do not have your time of birth, you can check the Saturn table to find out where Saturn was placed during your time of birth. Saturn is known as a malefic planet, which means that Saturn brings challenges and obstacles into our lives. Unlike Jupiter, where Jupiter expands and brings about lots of luck and blessings, Saturn restricts us. It sets limitations, boundaries, and restrictions on our lives. Saturn is also known as the planet of karma, and is also known as the planet of the ultimate rewards. Saturn rules time. It is very slow moving. It takes Saturn about 28 years to orbit the sun. Saturn loves structure, discipline, and authority. Saturn is the natural ruler of Capricorn. Capricorn is the natural ruler of the 10th house of status. It is our public persona. So Saturn actually represents a very important part of our life. It is the peak of our chart. It is what we want the world to see us as. That is what Saturn represents. Wherever Saturn sits in your birth chart, that's the area of your life that you want the world to see you as amazing in that area. However, Saturn will not make it easy for you. Saturn will make you struggle. Saturn will make you feel like you cannot achieve in this area of your life. No matter how hard you try, no matter what sacrifices you make, you will feel like you cannot achieve in this area of your life. But that's not true. Have you ever heard someone say that when your Saturn returns, that is when you should get married? That is when you should put in for that special type job that you always wanted? Well, the reason why they're saying that is because when your Saturn returns, usually around the age of 27 through 30, that is when you've matured. That's when you should have learned the lessons of Saturn, and now you're ready to receive the blessings of Saturn. Because a lot of times if you do something that's major in your life before your Saturn returns, then you're probably gonna have to go back and redo it, depending on where Saturn sits. The house that Saturn sits in your birth chart is very important. And also to look at the houses that Saturn is looking at, the houses that Saturn is aspecting as well, because these are the areas of your life where you're going to face the most challenges and obstacles, okay? So those of you who are new to the channel, welcome to the channel, and I hope that you will subscribe and also share my content. Let's get into the video. So what happens when Saturn comes into the zodiac sign of Aries? First of all, what is Aries? Aries is the natural ruler of the first house, the house of self, the house of ego, the house of personality, the house of our physical attributes. So Saturn comes into the sign of Aries, bringing restrictions, limitations, and boundaries. Saturn restricts Aries' ego. Where Aries naturally have an inflated ego, Saturn deflates Aries' ego. Saturn gives Aries a restricted sense of self. It causes Saturn and Aries type people to doubt themselves, make them feel like I'm not good enough. Saturn and Aries type people tend to deal with low self-esteem. They lack confidence in their abilities to be successful and to achieve in this world. Saturn and Aries type people tend to have a very control freak type nature, where they want to be in control of things around them or the people around them. But a lot of times that stems from insecurities, because they don't have control over their own self, you know, their own actions in a sense, because Saturn brings restrictions. Aries is the sign of action. So there's a restriction for Saturn and Aries type people where they feel like they can't act out the way they want to. When Saturn and Aries type people were younger, they didn't get to, whenever they would let that Aries energy play out, they always got either ridiculed, or they always got knocked down or embarrassed in a sense. So throughout their life, that area became a sensitive spot, stepping up, trying to be a leader, wanting to be a leader, you know, wanting to be a soldier, wanting to fight for the underdog. A lot of times they got knocked down or they got put down. So they learn to kind of like, just kind of like not deal with this part of their life. Saturn and Aries type people, they have to build their confidence, because that lack of self-esteem can actually make them feel like everyone in the world views them that way. Remember, Aries rules the first house of physical attributes. Saturn, restrictions and limitations, setting boundaries for us. So Saturn and Aries people look in the mirror, they see something that they don't like. And a lot of times they can be very, very hard on themselves. They can always pick themselves apart in a sense, not really realizing that they are absolutely beautiful or absolutely handsome, absolutely amazing in every way. Saturn in the sign of Aries is at its fall. No, Saturn cannot become what Saturn wants to become in the sign of Aries. Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra, which is the polar opposite to Aries. So yes, Saturn in Aries is a difficult placement, but it is a placement that also brings rewards once you master your Saturn. Okay, Saturn in Aries, once you learn the lessons, the hardcore lessons of Saturn, you become the type of person who is extremely confident. You become the type of person who is extremely bold. You are that boss. You are the leader, that soldier, that warrior, okay, that fights for the underdog. You no longer deal with those issues of self-esteem. You no longer deal with those issues of no confidence, you know, low confidence, you know, doubting yourself. You no longer are the person who don't take risks, because once you master this placement, you understand that life is life, and everyone is going to judge someone, whether they are doing good or bad. So you learned to do whatever it is that you want to do, succeed or fail. And that is what is going to make you powerful in this position. But until you master it, you will deal with that lack of self-esteem. You will miss out on a lot of opportunities, and you will always question yourself, what could have been? It is always good to try and fail than to not try and never know what could have been. Until you master your Saturn, you will always look in the mirror and think down about yourself. But what I want you to do, if you have not mastered this position, I want you to look in the mirror and say, I'm handsome, I am beautiful, I am good enough just because I am me. I am amazing, I am smart, I am talented, I am a boss, I am a leader, I am a soldier, I am a hero, I am a shero. And that is what I want you to tell yourself every single day until you look into the mirror and you know it and you don't have to say it anymore. Heroes were not made without fear. They were made because they were willing to step out there in spite of their fears. Saturn places challenges and obstacles in our path, but it is up to us to make the decision to move past that. Whenever you feel fearful or doubtful about a situation, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Why am I afraid? What am I so afraid of? And your answer will be yourself. The only thing that you are afraid of is yourself. No one is stopping you from being a leader or a boss but you. No one is telling you that you're not beautiful, handsome, or amazing, or talented but you. You're the only person, because you're creating these things in your own mind. Because you're allowing Saturn to defeat you. Whenever Saturn places obstacles in your path, the obstacle of fear, I want you to put your hands on your hip, and I want you to stare fear right into his or her eyes and say, fear, get out of my way. I have something that I have to do, and I'll deal with you later. With that being said, you guys, that is all I have for you. Until the next time, I wish you so much love, peace, and so many wonderful blessings. Bye.